My first guest is Congresswoman Harriet Hageman. She represents Wyoming's at-large congressional district. Thanks for coming back on the program.
Thank you, Andrew.
All right, tomorrow your committee, led by Representative Jim Jordan, is going to be seating FBI Director Christopher Wray. What are the main topics that you guys want to question him on?
Well, I'm looking forward to getting Christopher Wray under oath. And I think probably tomorrow we will be focusing on some very important First Amendment issues. First of all, the Durham report has exposed substantial information about the entire Russia hoax. But in addition to that, we also have the situation where the FBI has been targeting parents who have attended school board meetings to protect their children, the issues with the surveilling of the Catholic Church. So what I want to focus on is how the FBI has colluded with or conspired with social media companies to suppress Americans' First Amendment rights. I think it's absolutely critical that we get to the bottom of this and we make sure that this never, ever happens again.
My question about the school board meetings, what federal law, unless the FBI is just the Federal Bureau of Intimidation, if we're not talking about a federal law, why is the FBI getting involved? Why are they knocking on the doors of parents? Look, if people are getting loud, perhaps violating the rules of decorum, maybe even making threats at school board meetings, don't you have municipal or county or sheriff's departments to deal with that, right? I mean, there are police. Why is the FBI getting involved in this at all?
Andrew, you make a very good point, and it is the point that so many people are ignoring. The fact is that we've got the folks who want to defund the police, our local police, but what they really want is they want a federal police force. And that's what's happened over the last couple of years, is an effort to federalize every single thing that's out there. So you're exactly right. If there's an issue with someone misbehaving at a school board, there's local law enforcement to address it. The reason that they're doing this is because they are focusing on things such as radical white supremacy groups and things like that. What they're trying to do is gaslight us into believing that there are radicals out there on the right and that that's what they have to focus on. And that's why they've done it with the Catholic Church. That's why they've done it with the parents of the school boards meeting. They're attempting to deflect attention from the failures of the Biden administration, and they're attempting to deflect attention from the fact that they've been persecuting people based upon their political beliefs. So you're right, it should be local law enforcement. They're trying to federalize it so that they can actually pursue conservative thought, to try to persecute and prosecute people for being conservative and being Republicans. So that's what we need to expose tomorrow.
Now, another thing is a federal judge in Louisiana just said, hey, you guys cannot be going to these social media platforms and telling them what content they can and cannot post. And the reaction is, well, this judge is saying that they can't even communicate. No. No one said the FBI can't deal with Facebook or Twitter or Threads or whatever it is. If there's an issue related to terrorism or sex trafficking, they can't use the weight of their agency to say, we don't want that up there. That's the First Amendment. The idea that the FBI, look, if Christopher Wray wants to call up Mark Zuckerberg and go, hey, Mark, how's it going? What's going on? That's fine and dandy. But if the FBI is saying to these platforms, take that down, that's not their role.
That's what the Twitter files have exposed, because that's exactly what the FBI has been doing. So what they targeted was misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Now, they defined malinformation as information that might be true, but was inconvenient and they didn't like it. The misinformation and disinformation, who defines that? Look at what we know now compared to what we knew in 2020 and related to COVID-19. Look what we know in relation to all different kinds of issues that have been exposed over the last couple of years, the vaccines. So what you had is you had numerous agencies, not just the FBI, but the Biden administration across the board, a whole of government approach to be contacting social media companies to take down posts and information that they disagreed with. It's a classic example of violation of Americans' First Amendment rights, which if you read the decision issued by the judge, that's exactly what he said. You could address things that are legitimate federal law enforcement issues, but you cannot be stopping Americans from exercising their First Amendment rights. Very succinctly, the federal government cannot do through a surrogate what they cannot do directly. The First Amendment prohibits the federal government from suppressing my First Amendment rights and my ability to speak. They were doing it through the social media companies. They got caught, and now they want to continue to do it. We are going to expose more of this tomorrow with Christopher Wray, and we need to make sure that this never happens again.
Do you think you're going to get a straight answer on the Durham report that there was no predicate? Now, look, Christopher Wray could say, look, I wasn't the director. If there's any documents or records you want to have access to, just let me know. Why would he defend a federal investigation of a presidential campaign with no predicate?
It will be interesting to see how he handles the Durham report, because the Durham report is unassailable from the standpoint of what it exposed. So we'll see what Wray says tomorrow about that. When you say, are we going to get straight answers? No, I think that he's going to be like every other bureaucrat that spends all of his time trying to play hide the ball. But that doesn't mean that the American people are not on to what is happening and are not interested in our ability to actually hold his feet to the fire. So I have a couple of different lines of questioning that I'm going to try to force him to answer the questions. If he doesn't, I think his failure to answer is an answer in and of itself.
I got to leave it there. Hope we could talk after this, maybe in the next couple of days. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew.